I'm a little bit country, she's a little bit rocky road. Wake up and get ready for the Breakfast with Bob St. George show.
Honcho Man, thank you, brother. Welcome again to Breakfast with Bob, St. George edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spa, Zion's Bank, Quintana Roo, Forum Smart Swim Goggles, Clash Endurance, Premium Plus Sports, and, of course, the Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, who actually rides Quintana Roo, Haley Chura. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am wonderful. Get this guy a little closer to you.
Okay,
there we go. Love it. So, Haley, your mom and dad were both into this triathlon craziness?
Yeah. My parents, before I was born, I think they raced some local triathlons and the Bud Light Series, Olympic distance. And so I think I went to my first triathlon when I was under 10 days old.
Oh
my dad
God.
was racing, not my mom, but yeah, so it's been one of those things that I didn't get started in the sport till I was in my early 20s, but I kind of always knew I'd get into it eventually.
I think it's child abuse when you start bringing your kids to triathlon.
No way, no, I think it was the greatest thing ever. I just thought it was like, it allowed me to grow up thinking that, this is what adults did. They exercise. And I think that that's actually really valuable. And I know you had Jocelyn McCauley on before me, and Meredith Kessler is also a mom. And so there's a lot of, women in the pro field now who are racing and have kids. And I'm excited to see kind of their progression, their kids, and if they get into the sport. I think that's very cool. I appreciate it. I'm very thankful.
Well, it's funny. Mark Allen and Julie Moss's son, Matt, did Kona.
Yeah.
And so it's cool seeing that next generation coming along and doing the sports as well. That way they had the Neon Oakleys, posters of Joanne Ernst and Dave Scott. And your mom was a pro downhill skier. Dad grew up swimming and lifeguarding. You've got some good genes.
I definitely have some good genes. Yes, my mom's an incredible athlete, and she, I think when I first, I grew up swimming. I was a swimmer for most of my youth.
At Georgia?
Yes, and I swam at Georgia. And then after the 2008 Olympic trials, when I officially retired, that was I did that for fun. But we ran a 5K, actually, my mom and I, and she beat me.
Oh!
So, right at the line. So, yes. So it's...
But was it one of those things, let's finish together, honey?
Oh,
and then
no.
She
I thought I was going to win. And then all of a sudden, someone came by me, and it was my mom. So it was like, take no prisoners. But, so she's an incredible athlete. And so, I think that I have a younger sister, and we just grew up just totally in the athletic world. And I feel really lucky that I still am into swimming and into triathlon now and fit and healthy.
That is like the coolest thing. And you are a Quintana Roo athlete.
Yes. Yes. I have a green and yellow Quintana Roo, which the green and yellow is for Dynamo Multisport, which is the multisport club in Atlanta, Georgia, that got me into the sport. And my good friends, the Janelles, Betty and Ernie Janelle, are here right now. And Betty was actually my first training partner. And so that's all. I wear a lot of green and yellow, and it is like a homage to Dynamo Multisport. But I think it helps me stand out on the bike course as well and get a few extra cheers.
So when did you get into, I look at 2013, you won 70.3 New Orleans, first pro win. So it was around that time when you became a pro?
Well, I started my first Ironman in Hawaii in 2009 as an age grouper. I know, I was 24, I think.
What were you thinking? That's a long way.
Well, again, I blame Betty Janelle. She qualified, and she was my training partner at the time. And I think when we met, I was 22 and she was 44. And I knew nothing about triathlon, riding a bike. I think she convinced me to get my first pair of bike shorts because she convinced me it would feel a lot better, which she was right about. But she qualified for Hawaii, and I wanted to train with her. And so I decided to qualify too. And this was back when you could qualify in a half. So I went up to Rhode Island, and we had the same coach, Matthew Rose, who is still my coach today. But
that's so cool.
I did that first Ironman in Hawaii in 2009, finished in, I think, 12 and a half hours. So I have improved a bit since then. But I think that experience taught me so much that, I knew, even on that day, which things were not going super well, I had a really good swim. And then, a decent bike, and the run was a little rocky, but I knew I would come back and I would do better. And so I had, since then, I actually raced there 3 more times as an age grouper and finished on the podium twice. And then in 2013 was my first full pro year. And I was working in public accounting for 6 years before that, and I quit my public accounting job and then won my first race in New Orleans 2 weeks after that, which was pretty wild.
That's when you went and quit your job. What'd your boss say?
Oh, he knew it was coming. My boss had been like really supportive of my triathlon career, and he actually had convinced me to run my first marathon, and he'd given me a training plan and Excel spreadsheet. So I was in this unique environment. I was in, public accounting, not usually known for health and fitness, and I had this partner who was totally into running and into triathlon even, and so he saw it coming. He had followed my career, and when I had that meeting with him, which I was a fairly lower level employee, to schedule a meeting with the partner was a little unusual, and I walked in and he's like, "You're leaving, aren't you?" So I left that job on great terms and with the support where he actually said, you can come back, if you want, which is incredible. I mean, I wish everyone had that kind of
It was
support.
a little bit of a backstop. You never know, right?
Yeah, because it's scary being a pro. I mean, it's definitely, when you go, especially from a risk-adverse career like public accounting to not knowing if you're going to get a paycheck, it took a little while to get used to that.
Well, and especially during the whole COVID time. We don't even know if sport's coming back. Am I going to make a living at this? It was scary times.
Yes, no, and I'm very fortunate. I co-host the Ironman podcast, so I have a little bit of income that comes from that and a connection to the community still.
Nice.
And then I also coach about 20 age group athletes.
Oh my God, that's good.
Yeah, so I mean that helped a little bit. But yes, there was a lot of uncertainty, and I did wonder if my career was my athletic career had maybe had reached a pivot point. But I'm excited to be here.
So when I look back just this last year at 2022, you got first at Challenge Puerto Varas. It's always nice to get a win, and then 2021 sixth at Indian Wells and third at Challenge Samarin. That's such a great location.
Yeah.
The fourth at Coeur d'Alene, and Coeur d'Alene was only in 2020 was like what, about 1 million degrees?
It was so hot. I think I'm still trying to cool off from that race. That was when I live in Bozeman, Montana, so Coeur d'Alene is kind of the closest we get to a hometown race.
Yeah.
And I was probably not feeling super Ironman ready. The pandemic has been hard on me, and so I was just like, I don't know if I can go this distance, and especially at the pro field. And I honestly think one of the things that helped me was that I know I'm pretty bad in the heat, and so I managed the heat really, really well. And that was such a hot day. It was like
so ridiculous. The dropout rate was the highest ever.
Really?
Yeah, it was the
I
highest
believe it.
dropout rate in the history of Ironman.
It was still, I think at 7 p.m. we went to dinner. It was still 103 degrees Fahrenheit. So I commend everyone who finished, and I don't have any ill will or anything against anyone who didn't finish, because it was a hard race. But sometimes the hard races bring out my best. And so I'm thankful that I got on the start line that day and I gave that a try, because Coeur d'Alene is such a special course to me because it is kind of hometown. I've won the 70.3 there twice. And so even though for me, getting a fourth place on that day was actually it was like winning. It was incredible.
So the fact that you like tough courses, this is a tough course.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this. I feel like I think it's going to be hard for everyone.
Right.
And that's, how wind is and how heat is and how cold water is. It's that way for everyone. And so I am packing a few extra calories, in case I'm out there a little longer than usual. But I think that those are the conditions I train in. And so I think that it will be one of those days where maybe you're not going as fast as you've ever gone, but you're doing well. And so I think I can just remind myself of that.
Do you have specific goals for this race?
I would love to finish in the top 15 because they're paying to 15th, which I think is very cool. It's the first time that the Ironman World Championship has paid to 15th, and so it's nice to offset some of the expenses of coming down here.
It's not cheap, and you're putting in a training camp. Have you been here a while?
No, I just got here about 2 days ago. Okay. So I've been here 2 days. I drove down from Bozeman, but it's definitely, I'm a professional. I would like to make a little bit of money, and I really want to have just the day that reflects my training, which my training has been really good lately. So I think that, if I race to my training, which is always a goal, it is one of those things, I think it would be really good. And I also just really want to be racing the last hour of the race, which in Coeur d'Alene I was. I paced that race very well, even with the heat and the hard conditions. And I was still in it in the last hour, and a lot can happen in that last hour. And also that then you cross the finish line feeling really good. So that means, managing the heat, managing the conditions, making sure I'm well fueled the whole day, and keeping the happy thoughts coming and absorbing all the cheers. I hope I got a lot of cheers.
So throughout your career, is there one race that sticks out? is the race you feel best about?
Yeah, actually, 2017, the 70.3 Worlds in Chattanooga.
Yes.
Which I finished ninth in, which, people probably don't say a race where they finish ninth is the race that sticks out the most. But again, I got my start in the sport in Atlanta, and so it's close to Atlanta, about an hour and a half away. And then I had so many friends and family like on the course, racing it or cheering. And again, that was just a day where I just totally raced to my training, and it wasn't like any miracle happened, but I just had a really, really good day. And I think at one point I was leading the race, which was kind of cool for like 30 seconds before Daniela zoomed by me, but it's still cool to see that. And I finished ninth, which it's the only time I've finished in the top 10 at a world championship. And so to do that at kind of a hometown race was really, really special. So that's one that definitely sticks out.
Love it. Haley, have a great race on Saturday.
Oh, thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. Poncho Man.
Oh, I'm a little bit country. She's a little bit rocky road. So wake up and get ready for your breakfast, Rob. Breakfast with Bob. Who's Rob? St. George Show. I need a nap.
Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah. Poncho Man, bringing it out. That is it for day 2 of Breakfast with Bob. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow. Jimmy, you were great. Bye.
Thank you, Rob.